Guys, today we're in King's Legacy. So I have all the fruits here and I'm gonna be rating them. So now first up it's the human fruit. So what this fruit does in the anime, it does if you were in the anime and you ate this, it would do absolutely nothing since you are a human being. But in this game, it turns you into Monster Point Chopper. And it has like a bunch of punches. What's bad about this fruit is that combat's better. Just use your combat. This just gives you debuff, so this will go inside E tier. Next is the spike fruit. You can summon spikes from most places, like the ground or some walls. Okay, this fruit has a couple of attacks. They're pretty good. It's not as bad as the human fruit D tier. Next is the bomb fruit. If you were in the anime, you would probably explode because you would blow up yourself. But in King's Legacy, it has lots of good bomb attacks, far range, and it's pretty good. D tier. Next is the spin fruit. You can turn into a bunch of razor sharp blades and start spinning. E tier. Next is the barrier fruit. Okay, next is the barrier fruit. So the barrier fruit, you can make a bunch of walls that are actually indestructible. So this fruit, it has, and you can push those walls forward to hurt your enemies. This fruit is actually the first C tier. Next is the pole fruit. This can bring pain to your enemies, like mental pain or physical pain. This is not really that good in King's Legacy. They're very easy to dodge, and the moves go very slow. I gotta put this in D tier. Next is the love fruit. The love fruit is pretty good. You can shoot love arrows. They don't make people love each other. They hurt them. But it's pretty good for grinding, so I'm gonna put it in B tier. Next is the string fruit. The string fruit is good for grinding too. You can Spider-Man, and swing around, and the strings are so sharp that they can cut people. This goes in B tier as well. Next is the wolf fruit. This is a Zoan type devil fruit or a beast type that allows you to turn into a werewolf. You can turn into a werewolf hybrid or just a werewolf, full werewolf, or just no werewolf, human. And it's pretty good for grinding. So, and for PvP, it has a bunch of long range. So this can go into C tier. Next is the giraffe fruit. This is a Zoan type devil fruit that can turn you into a giraffe. You can turn into a giraffe hybrid. That's it. And then after that, it has. I actually never tried the giraffe fruit before. You can punch it. And then when you're punching, it's practically the same as the human fruit, but it buffs your combat. So you get D tier. Next is the shadow fruit. The shadow fruit is a fruit. In One Piece, you could take people's shadow and get an army of shadows. But then, after that, you can't do that in King's Legacy. That would be too OP. You have a bunch of shadowy attacks that make the place really dark, but you can still see. It's pretty good for grinding. C tier. Next is the smoke fruit. The smoke fruit can produce smoke, and it's a Logia, meaning it's good for grinding. And if it's good for grinding, then that means the NPCs can't hurt you. And if the NPCs can't hurt you, that's good. So for this fruit, you can go into C tier. So next is the Buddha fruit. Unlike in Blox fruits, where you can hold a sword by being a Buddha, while you're a Buddha, you can only use Buddha attacks. And you have impact and stuff. You can punch a lot. It's like a better giraffe, but you look better. You're a giant glow stick. And it's pretty good for grinding because it gives you more long range and buffs your combat. So you can go into C tier. Now, next is the Gum fruit, or the Hito fruit Madonika. In the anime, it is OP, it's so good, everyone loves it. But in King's Legacy, there's a Gear 4 Snake Man that they just added, where It enhances your abilities, gives you free hockey, and then after that, it's really good for grinding because it has a bunch of long range, and it's good for PvP because it makes you regen faster. So this gum fruit's gonna get an B tier. Next is the sand fruit. The sand fruit is a Gogia, meaning it's good for grinding because the NPCs can't hit you, and it has a bunch of long range, just like every other fruit. It's not that good for PvP because they're very easy to dodge, so this fruit can go into D tier. So next is the mammoth fruit. Everyone might be like, mammoth fruit, yeah, S tier, S tier. Because from Blox Fruits, the mammoth fruit is really good. But in this game, they said the mammoth fruit's a first sea fruit. It costs more stats than the best fruit in the game. And also, it's not even that good. It only has 2 attacking moves. And this thing is trash. D tier. Next, we have the Spinosaurus fruit. You can turn into a Spinosaurus at will, and you have like 3 or 4 attacking moves, and then it doesn't have that much far range, meaning it's good for it's not that good for PvP, but it's kind of good for grinding. So I'll put it in C tier. Next up it's the Allosaurus fruit. This is just like the Spino fruit. Practically, you just turn into a different type of dinosaur. But I like the Allosaurus much better than the Spinosaurus. You're going to see here, right above the Spinosaurus. Next is the Brachiosaurus fruit, another dinosaur. You're going to see here. Now is the Venom fruit. You can produce venom and use venom at will. It's pretty good for grinding, like a bunch of, a couple of far range, like one close range, and there's a transformation. And transformation looks pretty good. Pretty good for grinding because of the transformation. B tier. Now it's time for the Ope no Mi. This is a really good fruit for grinding because there's a move called Heart where you can just steal their heart, and when you steal their heart, they'll just start taking damage. There's a chance that it will kill them, but I don't know. Might eliminate them or not. So the Ope fruit, since it's good for grinding, it will go in B. Now, actually, yeah, B. So, gravity fruit. The gravity fruit has lots of far range. It's good for grinding because it has because you can aim it far or close, and then after that, it's good for PvP because it's a far range that you can aim it far. And since it's the gravity fruit, it's just so good. Then it's the dark fruit. This fruit, it just has a bunch of dark moves. It can't nullify abilities like in One Piece. I don't think it's that good. C tier. Now it's time for the leopard fruit. Leopard fruit is not that good. It's like a better Allosaurus fruit. So now the transformation looks cool. It's pretty strong. Some long range. Pretty good for PvP. So you got yourself a B tier. Now it's time for the ice fruit. I know it's pretty big, but the ice fruit has some long range. It has an ice skating move, pretty good for PvP, some close range, and it's great for combos. And yeah, that's pretty much it. So you land yourself an A tier. Next up is the fruit I'm using, the rumble fruit. The rumble fruit has a bunch of long range. It's good for PvP. You can aim it close or far, and it has some close range, too, and it gives you free flash step, so you land yourself in an A tier. Next is the flame fruit. The rumble was the third best for grinding, but the flame was the fourth best. The flame is like kind of the same as Rumble. It has a giant fireball that you can aim, and it also is pretty good for PvP because of its far range and the close range. It's pretty good because it has the fire flight. So the flame will lend itself an about a B tier. No, an A tier. So now magma fruit. The magma fruit is pretty good. It has a bunch of close range, meaning it's pretty good for PvP. It has some far range, and it has mobility. And also, it does a lot of damage, and it costs low stats, meaning it's good for first C. So magma lends itself a place in A tier. Now, next up is the light fruit. The light fruit is a Logia that has a bunch of far range, and it has some close range. And also it's great for PvP, and it has mobility, meaning it's really fast. And when it's awakened, it's just 2 times the okay, it's an S tier. Next is the gas fruit. The gas fruit, you can produce gas, which is really easy to dodge, where you can just jump out and then you'll stop taking damage. It's like a worse version of the venom fruit, and since venom's in B, gas lends itself a place in C. Who made gas in Epic? Okay, next is snow fruit. Snow is kind of like a better ice. So snow, you can produce snow and control snow as well. It's like a blizzard fruit. There's tornadoes, there's like ice shurikens, and it's a Logia, so it's good for grinding. A tier. Next is the quake fruit. So the quake fruit is pretty good. It's pretty good for PvP, and it's pretty good for PvP because it can summon waves. When it's awakened, 4 waves. When it's unawakened, 2 waves. So then after, I think I was incorrect. Okay, 2 waves for both. So then after that, when it's awakened, it does way more damage. Unawakened, pretty good still. It's pretty good it has some far range. It's not that good for grinding, but it's pretty good for PvP. It'll land itself bottom of A tier. Okay, next is the gold fruit. I think the gold is great for PvP, does lots of damage. The last move can track your opponents like a machine gun it's a missile that tracks your opponents. And then after that, it's really good for PvP because it has a bunch of long range, a bunch of close range, and it does lots of damage. And you land yourself in the A tier. Top of A tier. Next, you have yourself the best epic fruit, the magnet fruit. You can control metal at will. There's a giant arm you control made out of metal, and you can go and hit people with that. It costs the most mastery in the game, but it's pretty worth it. So you land yourself also in A tier. Next is the soul fruit, or should I say spirit. The spirit fruit, you can summon your 2 homies to come and fight for you. You can control lightning and fire at will. And then after that, you can use it and you can also fly. I think this deserves an easy S tier. So next up is the phoenix fruit. The phoenix fruit, you can turn into a phoenix, become a phoenix, and it has a good attack moves. You can fly while you're in the phoenix, and while you're out, it's not a phoenix, so that means it has good mobility, and it's really fast, almost as fast as light. And then after that, it's also a legendary fruit, and it's really good. And then you can also heal yourself. So that gets an easy A tier, top of A. Next is the toy fruit. You practically have the abilities of other devil fruits, and you can turn into a better Allosaurus than the Allosaurus fruit. So you should kick out the Allosaurus fruit because toy gets an S tier. Next is the gate fruit. Great for mobility. You can just teleport anywhere. And then also from the gate fruit, it has like holo purple, and then after that it has great attacks and lots of damage. Another S tier. Next is the dough fruit. Okay, the combo potential on this fruit is out of this world, and also it's yummy because it's a donut. Okay, so instead of the dough fruit, we're gonna do the dragon fruit instead. So the dragon fruit is just like the phoenix fruit, but better. It has lots of far range, and you can transform into a dragon that increases your health, and also you can fly, and it increases the damage of your moves. So that just makes it even better. Dragon goes in S tier. And as I was saying for dough, combo potential out of this world, insane. It's very good for grinding because of its far range. Good for PvP because of its far range. Close range. And it's like the best fruit in the game. So I think this fruit deserves a tier of its own. I think this fruit deserves a godly SSS tier. So guys, these are all the fruits in King's Legacy, a tier list from my opinion. Here's the S tier, A tier, B tier, C tier, D tier, E, and godly SSS tier. So guys, bye. See you in the next video.